If this is your first time on the channel, then welcome to all the fun. But if you've followed the channel for a little while, you'll know that my fascination for action figure history seems to grow by each day, and this day is certainly no exception. So this time we venture back to the world before the world transformed, i.e. the Diaclone days that preceded our beloved Generation 1 Transformers toy line. We'll be looking at this Diaclone Hilux figure, aka the blue version of Trailbreaker that you see on your screen. I'll be sure to take the time to do some comparisons with his more familiar Generation 1 toy and round things out with a quick look at his modern War for Cybertron appearance, as well as his third-party masterpiece stylized representation in my collection. Let's begin. Before we dive into the swing of things, I do encourage you all to check out the previous video I did on the Diaclone Yellow Sideswipe, where I track the evolution from Diaclone till present day, much like I'm doing in this video. I've also done a standalone video on the Diaclone Battle Convoy that preceded the 1984 Optimus Prime toy as well, so check that video out if you have a few moments to spare. Regarding the Diaclone Hilux, or pre-Transformers Trailbreaker figure, I picked him up off of a local collector that I hadn't dealt with in some time and was pleasantly surprised when a mutual friend put us in contact after knowing that I just recently bought up some other Diaclone figures. I'll start by saying that I find this particular Blue Trailbreaker a bit underrated as far as toy history and lore is concerned. If you've been tracking the trend and craze of hardcore vintage Transformers fans over the years, then you'll know about the holy grail nature of figures like the blue streak, as well as the enigmatic nature of others such as the Marlboro style Wheeljack, the red Corvette Stingray version of Trax, or the aforementioned yellow Lamborghini Countach that became Sideswipe. All that said, this Blue Trailbreaker gets talked about less by comparison to the others like I mentioned a moment ago, so this video at least will allow me to give this piece a little bit more love. One good thing I have noticed about older figures such as these is that it's got a good amount of weight relative to the size of the figure due to its die-cast parts, which is now something of a lost art seeing how much material costs have gone up and how the weight of figures seems to have come down as a result. The Toyota 4-wheel drive camper mode is pretty much identical to his G1 counterpart, colors of course notwithstanding. On that same note, the fists are blue instead of the standard black, and this particular Diaclone version is of the blue tinted Windows version as opposed to the clear variant that's also out there. I'll make mention that in my case I don't have the vehicle driver to go with the figure, and I'll also mention that I do like the look of blue on him as it does enough to draw my eye towards the figure and have me think that it looks pretty cool. I am aware also that a yellow version of him came out, but I've always preferred the blue color of him a little bit more. I'll also point out that this figure was released in Italy under the company Gig and without the driver but with a different bumper style of missile, and also that this figure was released in Finland for a period of time in addition to the mainline Japanese Takara release that was done before the 1984 launch of Transformers. Now to this point I have been showing you guys what this figure looks like compared to his Generation 1 counterpart, and it's just nice to see what changes were made before the G1 mainline Transformers release became a thing on boys' toy aisles in the 1980s. Now here's a look at both figures next to the Transformers War for Cybertron Earthrise version of Trailbreaker, since I do feel it's a good idea to get some feel for how these figures have shifted and evolved into the modern mainline releases. Here's a look at the figures next to the Mastermind Creations Terraegis figure, which of course is just one of several masterpiece attempted renditions out there of Trailbreaker. And here's a look at my Trailbreaker collection as a whole. Now, while this encapsulates the extent of my Trailbreaker collection, it's by no means every figure that's been released out there, so if you do happen to own other versions of him, be it in third-party style or other official releases, please do drop a note in the comment section about it. And here's a look at the Diaclone Hilux along with his other Diaclone counterparts that I happen to have in my collection. Overall, you'll notice I have a little bit less to say about this particular character and his associated Diaclone pre-Transformer history, but that's to be expected compared to characters such as Sideswipe, and part of that is because any video of Sideswipe, Diaclone or otherwise, would naturally include a talk about his car brother Sunstreaker, and because any discussion of the yellow Sideswipe would also deviate into a discussion about his early 2000s reissue that was under the name of Tiger Track. I will say that this is definitely one of those figures that I raced out the door to grab on the same day once I knew of its availability in my local area, as I could not wait to add one more figure to my slowly growing Diaclone collection. Buying these Diaclone figures does help everything old feel new again, and it does reconnect me with the hunt and thrill factor of getting secondhand Transformers into my collection again, but with an added twist due to having a color scheme that's a bit less familiar to me. Anyway, that's it for this round. Special thanks to my Patreon supporters whose names can be found in the description section of this video. Don't forget to visit patreon.com/toyconnections to sign up for my latest updates and other bonus content. Please subscribe to this channel if you already haven't, press that like button to spread this video to more viewers, and share it with your friends. Otherwise, I'll see you again soon. Now transform and roll out.